Butch and Bob Show.
World famous Butch and Bob Show here on WIFO 105.5 FM in Jesup, Big Dog Country Radio. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning.
How was your Thanksgiving?
Had a blast.
Had a blast?
Yeah, it's a good trip.
Up there in Atlanta with the sisters?
Yeah.
You said 3 of the 4 were there?
3 of the 4 of the sisters were there. A lot of nieces and nephews. Like I said, my nephew in Gainesville brought his girlfriend from Arizona, so she fit it right in. So we had a good time. It was
a good time. Y'all have to stay at motels or something?
No,
you can't.
We
all y'all fit in the house?
Yeah, we all fit in the house.
Oh Lord, where do y'all do that? And you got 4 of the families there.
My one sister stayed in the motel because there was not enough room, but everybody else piled in. So
it's piled in, huh?
Yeah,
kind of like Home Alone, where all the families there together. Every room's filled up. I guess the couch pulled out and all that kind of stuff.
It was good. Food was excellent, so it was a good trip.
Okay. Well, good.
Glad to be back. Busy week. We got the Christmas parade this week, the lighting of the Christmas tree, live nativity. So there's a lot going on this week in the city of Jesup.
Yeah, the live nativity is Wednesday and Thursday nights out there at the JC Fairgrounds, put on by the Omaha Baptist Church. The tree lighting ceremony is Thursday night at Bland Park in downtown Jesup. And then the parade this year is on Friday night. It's a change, folks. I know people, have to get used to change, but it's Friday at 7 p.m. in downtown Jesup, the Jesup Christmas Parade.
And kudos again for the city of Jesup for moving it to Friday, because once again it does not conflict with the Saturday SEC championship game with Georgia and Texas that afternoon. So kudos again for changing it.
Okay, be on Friday night.
Been lobbying that for years, and the city of Jesup saw the light.
Saw the light. They saw the light, and now they're going to be on Friday night at the Jesup Christmas Parade at 7 p.m.
A lot of happy men.
A lot of happy men.
I'll tell you, I talked to a lot of people who have kids, and it was always a situation where, they're watching the game, and George is involved, and it's a tight game, and all of a sudden, wives go, it's time to go to the Christmas parade. It's like, are you serious? So now they don't have to make that tough decision. So, but a lot of people, like I said, they'd go to the parade, but they'd stand by that bistro and go inside.
Stand by the chop house there.
They weren't watching the parade, so now they don't have to worry about that conflicts. And like Donnie Ray said, a lot of people that help put the parade together, they'd rather be watching the game as well. So I think it was a good move, all to conflict with the SEC championship game. So
yeah. And it doesn't conflict, one of these years we can continue to have on Friday night, it could affect the Wayne County High School football game in the future.
Right. Well, they can change it.
But, you can't change it, because it would be difficult if you're planning on Friday night, and then suddenly, you're in this is the second to last games this weekend?
This is the semifinal round.
Semifinal round,
yep.
Okay.
Next week to go to the Dome.
All right, so there's only 2 weekends left of high school football. The semifinal round this week, and then the next week in the Dome. And so it could in the future, but right now it's not. So you don't worry about what might happen in the future. You just plan everything right now. And speaking of semifinal rounds, Appleton County is going to be hosting a semifinal round this coming Friday night, right?
Yep. They took on that team that whipped up on Pierce County, Carver, Columbus. So,
man, they must be a good team to whip up on Pierce like they did.
They beat them pretty bad. So
they did.
It's a good football team coming in Friday night. So, but it's at home. It's at the Pirate Stadium. So
Pirate Stadium, and maybe that count
packed.
will be going off a lot for the Appleton County Pirates.
Be a big showdown. Them and Coffee, really the only 2 teams in the area still alive in the state playoffs.
I know.
Everybody else got beat. So Benedictine got beat this past weekend by Blessed Trinity. So they're out.
Blessed Trinity, and they're going to be playing this weekend. Blessed Trinity, and it's amazing. So many of the schools are in the. At least we got Appleton County from the South Georgia area down here. But from listening to what you were saying, there are so many of the teams that are from middle to North Georgia that are still in there. And us folks here in South Georgia got to do better next year.
Blessed Trinity's got to take on North Oconee, though. That's a tough team. North Oconee won big this past weekend, and the other one is Marist against Creekside. Marist, that private school that the girls' volleyball team ran up against with all those talented players. So, again, I know all about Marist. They've been recruiting for years. They've got the best of the best facilities. So And the University of Beaufort's still alive, so they're rolling. They beat the heck out of somebody this past weekend, 42-7. Getting ready to move in that $69.1 million stadium that they're building with luxury suites and everything else.
Luxury suites in a high school football game. I can't believe that.
I wonder if they're going to lobby to try to get the state championship games there, you know.
I mean, you never can tell. It'd be a lot cheaper than being in the dome.
Well, they got to make money, so they got to fill those luxury suites. They're supposed to kind of host all kinds of community events in there. So
yeah, I'm sure they got big plans for that stadium. Spend that much money. Yeah. Plan for that, and of course they're going to par some of the high school stadiums in Texas.
I tell you,
you know, Texas has got some major high school stadiums. It's absolutely
it's
something else.
Nice if you get a chance to. Like I said, you go on that Beaufort High School website and take a look at it. It looks gorgeous.
I guess they're building on some other land.
I'm not sure where they're building it. It's right there in Beaufort, so
okay,
it's got to be near the high school. So, but luxury suites and 2 electronic scoreboards that are only a little bit miniature. They're only a little bit smaller than the one in Athens.
And one in Athens is huge.
Right.
Yeah.
This is only like 2 or 3 inches smaller than that.
All right.
They're going to have 2 of them. Not 1, but 2. In both end zones.
All right. Someone just texted in that the Appleton County Pirates are on the road Friday. You got them hosting, right?
Yeah, I thought that the bracket said they were hosting, so I said that sometimes the bracket's wrong, so maybe they're on the road Friday.
Maybe they're on the road. Someone texted in that said the Pirates are on the road, so you double check on that, folks, with their website to make sure, or on the website of the Georgia High School Association or whatever the case may be. But we do wish the Pirates the best. I know they are our number one rivalry, but you know we want teams in this area to do the best.
Looking at the bracket, the Carver Columbus was a 2 seed and Athens a 1 seed, so that would put Athens at home. So that's the bracket that I've got. So.
All right, well just double check, folks, on that and see, okay? Because Appleton was a 1 seed and Carver was a 2 seed, so usually the 1 seed host.
Yeah. Usually. So I'm looking at the bracket wrong, but the bracket I got them as a 2 seed. So
okay,
I'll check with Spec. Spec will know.
And the Georgia High School Association, I know it's difficult for you to go to their website, but you can't do that.
That's where I got the bracket. That's where I got the bracket from.
Oh, you got the bracket from the Georgia High School Association. Oh, okay.
If you go on GHSA.net, they've got all the playoff brackets there.
Okay.
But
all right.
Looking at the bracket, it looks like Carver Columbus is a 2 seed from their region. So
okay, all right.
They have it wrong. So.
Well, we'll double check on that to make sure. And but the Pirates will be playing this Friday night. We know that. Hopefully they'll be playing at home. That'd be great for Baxley.
We know who the opponent is. So.
Yeah. And what a Georgia game on Friday night against Tech. 8 overtimes. I don't know if I've ever known a college game go 8 overtimes.
I didn't realize they switched the, I thought they did the overtime like they always did it, like they did the first, you had to start at the 20-yard line, but after the second, it just goes to 2-point conversions. They're trying to get it done. So,
right.
But 8 overtimes. The record's 9 overtimes, so they were just one overtime away from setting the record. But that was a wild and crazy scene in Athens. Again, Georgia, starts off slow.
Just fiddling around for 3 quarters. In the fourth quarter, we got to score 3 touchdowns here.
Tech just whipped them for 3 quarters, and then all of a sudden Georgia woke up. So, but fortunately, they were able to pull it out and get the win.
Now you were always talking. We've heard before. We've always said on the Butch and Bob show, it's not about the X's and O's, it's about the Jimmies and Joes. Yeah. But I don't know, because you take the Georgia Tech game. We got 4- and 5-star players at Georgia, have recruited that for the past several years. Tech has been 2, 3, and some 4 athletes there. So if you take a look athlete to athlete, we've got better athletes. And then if you take a look at the Michigan-Ohio State game, that's one of the things they were talking about on the pregame show before that game, is the fact that this is probably the most disparity between the talent between Michigan and Ohio State that they could ever remember in a long time, because Ohio State had 4- and 5-star athletes on the field. And Michigan had a very off year this year with the new coach and so many players leaving and that kind of stuff. And Michigan beats Ohio State, who was a 3-touchdown favorite over Michigan. And I think when it comes down to the Jimmy Joes, I think it comes down to who wants it the most.
It came down the line playing both those games. If you watched the Georgia game, you watched the Ohio State Michigan game, Michigan's offensive line was just whipping the defensive line of Ohio State, and they had those two big running backs. Plus, the Ohio State quarterback threw 2 interceptions in the red zone, which cost them. So, the Georgia game, though, Georgia was getting whipped on both sides of the line for 3 quarters, and they finally woke up. But as Georgia's MO all year, they've started slow. They've started slow in the Florida game. They started slow in,
They started slow in a lot of games.
That's what I'm saying.
They've had to come back in that third and fourth quarter.
I don't know what they do at halftime to wake them up, but they wake them up, I guess. But they got a tough game. Texas is going to be tough. It's always hard to beat a team twice, but that's the game Saturday in Atlanta. I think
Atlanta at the Mercedes-Benz?
Texas is a slight favorite. I think 1.5, 2 point
well,
favorite.
They ought to be. They're rated higher and that kind of stuff. But it's going to be a very close game. And so Georgia, Texas, Saturday at 4 o'clock there in Atlanta.
What Georgia fans have to hope for is, like I said, they keep saying it, no matter if they win or lose, they're in. But you just don't know, because it's going to be interesting to see tomorrow night who's in and who's out, because, a lot of teams that thought they were in are gone. Miami got beat by Syracuse, so they probably won't survive. There's Ohio State's going to drop.
They'll still be in. All the talking heads over the weekend said no matter if Georgia loses the SEC game, they should be in, because you take a look at their losses against top 10 teams. They
should, but the question is, will the committee, stay true to their word? You just don't know. I'm just curious to see who's in tomorrow night, who's out, because there's a lot of SEC teams that are hoping they sneak back in, like Alabama, South Carolina, Ole Miss. They're all jockeying with those 3 losses, trying to get back in that. They think they've got a shot since all the carnage took place this past weekend. So it'll be interesting tomorrow night to see who the 12-team committee has, or who the committee has in that 12-team playoff, and where Georgia is. So that's going to be interesting tomorrow night. There's only one more after tomorrow night. There's only one more, after the championship weekend. That following Tuesday, the field will be set, and the 12 teams will be. It'll be final who's in and who's out, and it starts on December 20th. So it'll be nice to see Georgia get a home playoff game. If they can win that SEC championship game, they'll definitely get that, because the SEC champion gets a bye in round 1.
Hopefully Georgia will win. They ain't got to worry about anything. They have a trophy to put in their case, and then be out, and then have that bye the first week, which worked out great.
Get those SEC championship rings that Chris Collinsworth was talking about on SEC Nation. The host was trying to say that game doesn't matter because they're both going in. He said, "No, it's a ring.
No,
it's a ring.
It's a ring. SEC champion. Now
you
that's
want to be
big.
the championship, right?
That's right.
Like Steve Sarkisian said it best. That was their goal year 1, but that'd be a heck of a note. People always ask, how would Texas and Oklahoma fare in the SEC? Oklahoma struggled a little bit, but Texas is right there and has a chance to win a championship in year 1. So that'd be a heck of a story if they could pull it off.
Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting to see tomorrow night which 12 teams are in that playoff. Do they put a 3-team loss SEC team in there? Did Alabama sneak back in? Did Ole Miss sneak back in? They try to say South Carolina's going to get in, and Lane Kiffin says, well, why are we playing the games? We went down to South Carolina, whipped up on Ole Miss. So it's going to be interesting to see who the committee has in that 12-team field tomorrow night. Can't wait to see how it all plays out. So in Penn State moves into the Big Ten championship game against Oregon. Like everybody had Ohio State penciled in, but like I said, they lay an egg against Michigan for the 4th straight year. That was just that was the biggest shock. That was the biggest shock of the weekend. Ohio State.
Ohio State getting beat.
They're 21-point favorite in that game, supposed to win at home. Like I said, they had all the athletes in the transfer portal, but their quarterback just played bad in the red zone.
Yeah. Urban Meyer said at the first of the season that this is probably the most talent he had ever seen on Ohio State team, even when he was there, and he expected them to run the table and win the national championship.
I was listening to AM 1370 Fox Sports coming in, and they said Ohio State's most talented quarterback is a freshman that they need to be playing instead of the guy they're playing. So I don't know about that, but that's what they were saying on this morning's AM 1370 Fox Sports. They've got the most talented quarterback sitting on the bench, and they should be playing him against the guy they're playing. So, but the poor Ohio State guy, coach, he looked like he was in a funeral after the ball game. His post game was hard to watch because he had no explanation, and just Kind of like Kirk Cousins had no explanation. There's 4 interception game yesterday. That was terrible. Did you watch any of the Falcon game?
Yeah.
I mean,
What'd you say?
I said, did you watch in the Falcons game? Kirk Cousins, 4 interceptions.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was trying to find something out about the dogs here. The Kirk Cousins 4 interceptions. I know that on Fox, Terry Bradshaw in the game were talking about, those 4 interceptions, and you just can't win ball games doing that. You can see to the panel up there on the Fox on Fox Sunday there is just disappointed in the way that the Falcons, where they are right now, after the last 3 games of where they were just 3 games ago when they were winning, and then now 3 losses in a row. But still tied or half a game ahead or something like that in their division. So we'll see. What's your thoughts on the Penn State-Oregon game?
I like Oregon. The Ducks are undefeated. Dan Lanning's done a great job since leaving Georgia. The defense coordinator's now the head coach there, his 3rd year, and he's doing a great job with the Oregon Ducks. They look awfully good to me.
Yeah.
I don't see Penn State playing with them, but you never know.
You never know. I mean, who would have thought Michigan could stay with Ohio State? I didn't see that this year. Neither did anybody else.
That was another controversy in the Penn State. I'm not sure who they played, but whoever they played, they scored a touchdown late in the ball game, and the coaches midfield, and the coach that they scored the touchdown on was real upset. So James Franklin addressed that in his post game. He said, "Look, what part don't you understand? Style points matter now in this new system. You've got to score as many points as you possibly can. Point differential is a factor in how the committee selects the 12-team playoffs. So if he has a problem with him scoring that late touchdown, he needs to understand the rules."
Right.
That's what teams are going to do.
You got to you scored as many points as you possibly can.
You're going to score. I mean,
style matters.
That's right. Point differential matters. Spur used to get that all the time. Spur said, "Look, it's not my job to stop my team. It's your job to stop them. If you can't stop them, that's on you."
Yeah, he used to say that all the time when he was down there in Florida. Yep, sure did.
But that was an interesting press conference with James Franklin. He was upset with what took place after the game. The coach had some words, and it's on the internet. They yelled and screamed at one another. But he explained afterward the ball game that unfortunately, the way the system's set up now, point differential matters. The more points you score, the better it looks for the committee. So you have to score as many points as you possibly can.
Watching Urban Meyer on the Big Noon Saturday there on Fox, for the past several years, other than that one year he was in Jacksonville, you would never know that he ever coached at Florida and won a national championship. It's all Ohio State. Of course, I know that the Big Noon Saturday on Fox is more Big 12 oriented, but or is it Big 10? I get confused between the two, but the one with Ohio State and Michigan.
He's Big 10.
Yeah, he's Big 10 then. On the Big 10, but he doesn't even act like he was ever down there. He never says anything. He's not like he was part of the family down there.
He's lobbying for that Ohio State job.
Who, Urban?
Yes.
No, he doesn't want to go back there, does he?
Yes, he does. Yes.
You think so?
Yes. That's what he's doing.
He's done that for years now. For years.
He wants to go back to Ohio State. Wants to be a coach. And the poor Ohio State coach, they can't beat Michigan, so.
He only lost one game to the number 1 team in the state in the nation until he lost to Michigan.
He's lost 4 in a row to Michigan.
Yeah, he's lost 4 in a row to Michigan. But where are you going to find a better coach than him and a better recruiter than him?
You got to find somebody who can beat Michigan. I was listening to that. I was on the way back from Atlanta listening to that Ohio State-Michigan pregame show, and they said that the coaches were asked if they could beat Michigan or beat Ohio State or play for the national championship, which would they choose? And they would choose to beat
Michigan.
That's how bad they don't like each other.
Oh boy! And it's really going to be interesting to see those two play next year after the debacle they had after the game there on the field. That was just that was terrible. Two teams going at it. These coaches are just going to have to do a better job of telling the players, don't do this after a game. Don't plant the flag. Don't taunt. Don't do all that kind of stuff like that. Have some class, But some of these players are just so excited. They don't think. They just do. Of course, you have to understand they're only 18, 19, 21-year-old kids,
Well, if they're going to let 3 Big Ten teams in, Oregon, Penn State, and Indiana, then 3 SEC teams are going to get in, Texas, Georgia. The question is, who's the other SEC team? I would think that's what I want to see tomorrow night when that committee puts that 12-team field out there. Which other SEC team makes that field?
Right. We'll find
Is
out.
it going to be Texas A&M who just lost to Texas? Is it going to be? Are they going to let Alabama sneak back in? Is Lane Kiffin going to get his wish and have Ole Miss in there? South Carolina's lobbying hard. They beat Clemson, so who knows? Tomorrow night it'll all be.
Well, I know I don't have to make the decision on that. Of course, I'll be kind of biased. Yeah, Georgia, you got to put them in, but
they say if we win or lose, we're in. But
that's what everybody's saying, except for Yahoo Sports. Well, I was reading a little while ago it's iffy. They say, but the one talking heads this weekend said no. You look at the quality. I mean, top 10 teams is what Georgia's lost to if they lose to Texas. But we can't think about that. We got to think we beat them one time this year. We can beat them again.
Just win and get that first round bye.
And come out of the gates hot. Don't fiddle around for a half or three quarters. Come out hot and play, because you got the studs out there, man. You got the 4- and 5-star athletes out there. Use that talent. Get them fired up. And come up with a good. In some of the games you watch, you wonder the coaching decisions a little bit. So you got to have a great game plan.
8 overtimes. They've already got T-shirts out. I survived the 8 overtime game in Athens. Most people had a heart attack.
8 overtimes. Is this thing ever going to get over?
It was crazy.
It's after midnight.
It was unreal. It was exciting.
Yeah, it was exciting.
But it was nerve-wracking, that's for sure.
Right. Now, we got guests on tomorrow. Who's our guest on the Butch and Bob
Gann
show?
Starling coming in tomorrow. Like I said,
Gann Starling?
Yep,
Now, tell us about Gann. Who's he?
He's a former Wayne County High School player.
Baseball.
Went to Citadel. Yep, signed his contract with the Colorado Rockies this past week, so he's going to come in and tell us all about it. So looking forward to having him on the show tomorrow. And again, our congrats to him. So just a big sport, nice local sports story. Kid worked hard and had a great career, and now he continues it in the major leagues.
Can't wait to talk to him tomorrow morning on the Butch and Bob show.
He'll be here.
All right, Bob, have a good day. All right, the world-famous Butch and Bob show here on WIFO 105.5 FM in Jesup has been brought to you by the service department at G&S Auto Sales in Jesup. Also brought to you by First Southern Bank, Murphy Builder Supply, and by O.C. Welch Ford in Hardyville.